What's up, Roadrunners? My name is Enrique Medina, and we welcome you to this week's episode of The Sportsrunner. In this week's episode, we give you the most recent in NBA signings, more on news in European soccer, the most recent from an action-packed opening day weekend in Major League Baseball, and more on rule changes, the NFL draft, and more NFL signings. We also chat with another athlete in this week's segment of the Sportsrunner Spotlight. We have this and more in this week's episode of The Sportsrunner. With that said, we begin our show with our weekly recaps with Sportsrunner Weekly. Justin, out to you with the latest on NBA news.
Hello, my name is Justin Gomez, and I am here for your weekly NBA recap. First up, we have Lakers signing star center Andre Drummond. With the addition of Andre Drummond, I believe once the Lakers get fully healthy and they get the chemistry right, they'll definitely be heading toward another chance at a back-to-back. Next up, we have the Brooklyn Nets signing center LaMarcus Aldridge. This makes the Brooklyn Nets quite possibly have the best starting five in the NBA, with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Blake Griffin. Next up, we have some trades that recently went down. First up, we have Aaron Gordon from the Orlando Magic getting traded to the Denver Nuggets for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and some draft picks. I believe that this makes the Denver Nuggets a highly competitive team in the Western Conference with a chance to beat the Lakers, the Clippers, or even the Utah Jazz. Next up, we have last year's runners-up, Miami Heat, acquiring Victor Oladipo from the Houston Rockets. In return, the Houston Rockets will get Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and some draft picks. The best way to summarize this trade is basically last year's championship team with the addition of Victor Oladipo. In my opinion, I believe this makes the Heat a good contender with teams alongside the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. The last big trade that went down was Chicago Bulls acquiring Nikola Vucevic from the Orlando Magic. In return, the Orlando Magic would get Wendell Carter, Otto Porter Jr., and some draft picks. With the addition of Nikola Vucevic alongside Zach LaVine now, I believe this makes the Chicago Bulls team a lot better. But in my opinion, they still don't stand a chance against teams like the Brooklyn Nets, Milwaukee Bucks, and the Philadelphia 76ers. That is all from me this week. Again, my name is Justin Gomez, and this has been your weekly NBA recap.
Thank you, Justin, for the latest on NBA news. We now take things to you, Fernando, with the latest on soccer.
Hello, Roadrunners. My name is Fernando Ramos, and in this week's episode of the Sportsrunner, we'll be covering this summer's biggest transfer headline story. Undoubtedly, one of the biggest transfers of this summer's transfer window will be the transfer of Erling Haaland to one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Borussia Dortmund will try to keep Haaland for one more season. However, Borussia Dortmund failed to qualify for the Champions League as they are now 7 points behind the Champions League qualification zone. Erling Haaland will look to find his home somewhere else. There's not a single club in Europe that wouldn't take Haaland. However, Haaland has already made direct contact with Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Manchester City. Bayern Munich have already called out of the race for Erling Haaland as they have stated that they already have a talisman in Robert Lewandowski. Manchester City and Pep Guardiola have also came out stating that they will not sign any strikers this summer due to financial reasons. This means that Haaland's most likely destination is Spain, as Barcelona and Real Madrid are at the front run to sign his signature. New president for Barcelona, Joan Laporta, has already made contact with Erling Haaland and his father, as signing him will be used to persuade Lionel Messi to stay at the club. I should also mention that Erling Haaland and his father have already made in contact with the representatives at Valencia. However, this is the least common option. Haaland has a release clause that will be activated of June 2022 of only 75 million euros. However, whoever wants to buy him this season will have to pay over 150 million euros to Borussia Dortmund. With many teams in Europe in financial crisis due to the pandemic, whoever is willing to pay upwards of 150 million euros to bring in Erling Haaland will have to make some adjustments to their squad. This means releasing and selling players. With the summer transfer window only a couple months away, I'm sure that this transfer between Erling Haaland and the biggest clubs in Europe will start to heat up pretty soon. Only Haaland knows where his future will lie next season. However, don't be surprised if he's representing a bigger club in Europe next season. This is it for this section of the Sportsrunner Weekly. Now until the next sport.
Thank you, Fernando, for the latest on soccer news. Now we switch to baseball and the MLB. A lot has happened since the release of our last episode. We can officially now say that baseball is back. And yes, the games do officially count now. No more spring training, no more practice games. Everything from now on is for real. With that said, this past weekend marked the official start of the 2021 Major League Baseball regular season, with all 30 teams starting their conquest to a potential World Series title. Before we head into game action though, it's important to note some of the biggest news that occurred off the diamond before and during opening day and opening day weekend. Perhaps the biggest news of them all was news that came from New York and the Big Apple as the New York Mets announced last Wednesday an extension with superstar shortstop Francisco Lindor. Francisco Lindor, now 27 years of age, is a four-time All-Star in 6 seasons, and with his extension, he will be a Met for 10 more years and $341 million. The shortstop was expected to be a free agent at the end of the year, but the Mets locked up the franchise cornerstone, and this officially makes it the first huge contract of the Steve Cohen era. On top of the Lindor news, we had news amongst this year's 2021 Major League Baseball All-Star Game from Atlanta, Georgia. In a press release, Commissioner Rob Manfred announced that this year's All-Star Game will no longer be held in Atlanta in response to the new voting laws passed by the state of Georgia. Major League Baseball is now in the midst of finding a new host for this year's Midsummer Classic. As for the All-Star Game set in Los Angeles and Dodger Stadium in 2022, it will remain unchanged and is still set for next season. Let's switch things up though, as now we talk about news on the diamond. Baseball is officially back, as we recently saw opening day and opening day weekend, one in which there was a lot of action and a lot of memorable moments. Let's get started, shall we? Thursday opening day saw the Detroit Tigers face reigning American League Cy Young Award winner Shane Bieber and the Cleveland Indians from the Detroit Tigers' Comerica Park. In the bottom of the first inning, we saw baseball's first home run of the season hit by a very familiar face, longtime veteran Miguel Cabrera for the Detroit Tigers. The former Triple Crown winner hit a home run off of Shane Bieber in the first inning, but what made the home run all that more memorable for us baseball fans was that not only did Mickey hit it with snow falling from the sky, but he actually mistakenly thought the ball was actually in play and actually slid into second base. Realizing that he hadn't actually hit the home run, the Tigers wound up winning the ball game 3-2. Opening day and opening day weekend also saw the Houston Astros play for the first time on the road since their sign-stealing scandal back in 2020 for their 2017 championship. The Astros played a 4-game set against the Oakland Athletics, and let's just say, the A's fans did their part in letting their feelings be known on the situation. Despite the really vast amount of heckles and booing from A's fans, the Astros ultimately got the last laugh on Oakland, sweeping the A's in the 4-game series. Away from Houston though, we saw really great news from Boston this weekend, as the Baltimore Orioles' Trey Mancini played in his first MLB game in over a year after recovering and defeating a battle against colon cancer. To make things all that more sweet for Mancini, he was a crucial part of the Orioles' sweep against Boston in their opening day weekend series. Switching things now onto our Southern California teams, we saw the reigning World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers begin their title defense against the Colorado Rockies in a 4-game series this opening day weekend. We saw the reigning World Series champions fall in Game 1 of the season to the Rockies, with one of the game's defining moments being one of the oddest plays you'll see as a baseball fan. The Dodgers' Cody Bellinger hit a 2-run home run to put the team on the board first. But as he ran the bases, he actually passed teammate Justin Turner, who mistakenly actually thought that the ball was caught during the home run. And because that happened, Bellinger was marked out because he passed his actual teammate when running the bases and was only credited with an RBI single on the play. Game 2 saw the anticipated debut of huge offseason acquisition Trevor Bauer for the Dodgers. Bauer, now 30 years of age, now the newest, highest played player in Major League Baseball for the 2021 season, would make an immediate impact for the boys in blue. Power tossed 6 no-hit innings to start off the night, propelling the team for a great position for the victory. Bauer did have a little bit of a shaky 7th inning though, but he ultimately led the Dodgers to a victory, striking out 10 Rockies in his Dodgers debut. Games 3 and 4 saw similar pitching dominance from the Dodgers starters, as Walker Buehler held the Colorado Rockies in check in Game 3, and Julio Urias did the same in arguably the best regular season game of his career in Game 4. As for the Los Angeles Angels, they saw a very intense opening weekend matchup against the Chicago White Sox. The Halos took a narrow 1-run win in Game 1 of the season thanks to Mike Trout and Albert Pujols' late RBIs in the 8th inning. Game 2 would go Chicago's way, and it looked like Saturday would be the same result until Justin Upton from the Angels hit a go-ahead home run in the 8th inning, coming back down from a 3-2 deficit. The comeback victories did take away just a tiny bit from the unbelievable start from the White Sox rookie, Yermin Mercedes, who started his career in unbelievable 8 for 8 with one of those hits being a home run. 8 straight at-bats with getting a hit. This was the first time this feat was actually accomplished since all the way back in 1900. We would actually see a very similar feat also be accomplished on Sunday, as the Angels' Shohei Ohtani became the first pitcher to hit second in the lineup and pitch in the same game since 1903. His feat came with an even better showing, actually homering in the game and tossing 4 2/3 innings against the White Sox. The game again really came down to the wire though, until Jared Walsh of the Angels hit a 3-run walk-off home run, completing the 3-1 series victory. So much more happened too, and more coverage is set to come in the following weeks with Major League Baseball's regular season fully upon us. But with that said, that will wrap up this week's segment for baseball and the MLB. I now throw it out to you, Luke, with more on football.
What's up, Roadrunners? It's Luke, and we have a lot of NFL news to catch you up on. So we're going to start off with the pro days, and all the big stars that you expected balled out. Of course, Trevor Lawrence showed that he's a professional, that he can make the throws, so throw it on a dime. His timing, his mechanics, everything is on point. But his hype is really starting to die down, and that's just because the other quarterbacks have really showed out. We have Zach Wilson, former quarterback for BYU. Really popped out of nowhere, put BYU on the map last college football season, and he really showed out on his pro day. Now, even though he didn't run a crazy 40-yard dash, he was making sure that he was doing game-like throws during his pro day, throwing across his body, rolling out of the pocket, throwing downfield, really showing off the cannon of his arm. Obviously, this is really intriguing to NFL teams because we love the big arm quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Rodgers, and it seems like the game is going to start shifting to that kind of play style. So obviously Zach Wilson fits that kind of mold. Then we have Justin Fields, the self-proclaimed best quarterback in this year's draft. He's really trying to prove the doubters wrong. Like any football fan would know that quarterbacks coming out of Ohio State through the past 3 years have always been overhyped and just never produce it on the field when they make it to the pros. Justin Fields is starting to look like he's really different. He ran a 4.4 on his 40-yard dash. Again, just like Zach Wilson, making sure he's showing that he could do game-like throws, running out of the pocket, throwing across his body, throwing downfield, throwing it on a dime. Only problem with him right now is that during his pro day, scouts notice he has a very funny throwing motion. We're going to see if this decreases his value. Another quarterback that just popped out of nowhere during this pro day is Trey Lance. Just like Carson Wentz, he came out of North Dakota State University, a very low-key school, D2. Personally, anybody could look good on their pro day, but again, he has that big arm that a lot of NFL teams are starting to gravitate towards. So we're going to see if he goes up on people's draft boards. Maybe he might be a gem. Maybe he just might be a dude that just looks good during his workouts. But we're going to have to wait and see. And of course, probably the best tight end out of this year's draft is Kyle Pitts. The dude is a monster for his size and weight. He ran a 4.4 for his 4-yard dash. He had a 33.5-inch vertical. The dude is a monster. Probably by far one of the best tight ends to come out of college in a while, and he'll make a great impact as soon as he's drafted. Now going into the NFL news. Free agency is happening right now, and it's a very big deal. Teams are trying to restack and, of course, trying to win a championship. So the Bucks, like in pure Patriot way that Tom Brady used to do it, they re-signed Ndamukong Suh. Leonard Fournette is re-signed, and it looks like they're going to return again and run it back for another championship. It's pretty crazy that Tom Brady was able to get all these guys to buy in, to take pay cuts, and to like restructure their contracts to make sure the whole roster stays together. This is a testament to his leadership, and just gotta watch out for the Bucks this upcoming season. Then we have the Seahawks. Even though they're kind of in a dispute with Russell Wilson, they made sure to re-sign wide receiver Tyler Lockett, a reliable option for Russell. Maybe that will ease some tension, but well-deserved money, and he's back and gonna stay with the Seahawks. And the Broncos, they pick up Kyle Fuller. Kyle Fuller used to be the corner for the Chicago Bears, a very elite corner, and now he has a new home. Good for him. Broncos defense is starting to rebuild. They had one really great season where they're just unstoppable back in 2014, when they played against Cam Newton and the Panthers. They're starting to rebuild that defense, and Kyle Fuller is a very good pick for them to get. Then the Ravens. Ravens signed Sammy Watkins, former wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone's been saying that Lamar Jackson needs the number one receiver, and we're going to see if Sammy Watkins will help him out. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Might be blamed on Lamar Jackson, or it might have to be new coaching changes. So we're just going to have to wait and see on how that chemistry and how that offense is going to start clicking when the season starts. The Rams add another weapon to their offense. They pick up Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson used to be on the Philadelphia Eagles, and although I hate the Eagles, he was very underused and could have been used greatly for that team. Veteran, savvy, explosive. Even though he can't really stay healthy, he's still a very key player, and if used rightly, he could greatly help your offense. So, knowing Sean McVay being an offensive genius that he is, I'm pretty sure he'll use Deshaun Jackson the right way. And next, we have a really big trade that just happened. It started with the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the San Francisco 49ers. So the Dolphins go ahead and they give San Fran the number 3 pick. And then the Dolphins got the 12th overall pick. Then the Dolphins dealt it to the Eagles, and now the Dolphins are sitting at number 6. Very big draft, very blockbuster. San Francisco's not really trusting Jimmy G anymore, which is okay. I don't think anyone, or even the San Francisco fans, really believed in him. So we're just going to wait and see if they choose a quarterback, or if they're actually going to get a first-round pick out of Jimmy G like they said they would. And then the Eagles, who thankfully are having quarterback problems again, they're not very sure on Jalen Hurts, and they might draft a quarterback, and Trey Lance and all these other quarterbacks really interest them. So we're just going to have to wait and see if the Eagles blow it on another quarterback controversy. And then the Dolphins really turned around as an organization, really stacked up on picks, just not for this year's draft, but for the next 2 drafts. They're just ready and could easily just trade their picks and to get well-established players to join their team. They're definitely going to be a team to look after. In the following years, they are proven to be contenders very soon if they continue to be on this trend. And a very crazy news that just happened is that the NFL is now going to be a 17-game regular season. This wasn't very exciting or wasn't really well accepted by players. A lot of them tweeted out their disagreement with it and how unhappy they are. Obviously, as a football fan, I don't really even like it either. That's a little too many games, when they have preseason games plus playoffs plus the regular season 16 games. Obviously, 16 games is a lot easier to keep track of, and we've got to consider player health. But the NFL decided to pass it. Not really sure when they'll be able to cut it out or not, but we'll just have to wait and see. And just thank you for tuning in for the Sportsrunner.
Unfortunately, Roadrunners, our team was not able to make it together for our roundtable talk, so you'll have to wait until next time for the Sportsrunner Digest. Despite that, though, we can say that the Sportsrunner Spotlight is back. And in this week's episode, we actually pushed our boundaries to another local community college, where Jason Givens from Cerritos College, a good friend of mine actually, gives us his experience of practicing and playing baseball during the pandemic. This, the recruiting process, and more in this week's segment of the Sportsrunner Spotlight. Hello, Roadrunners. It is Enrique Medina again here with this week's segment of the Sportsrunner Spotlight. And for this week, we actually branched out to another local community college, Cerritos College. And with me here today is Jason Gibbons, a good friend of mine from high school. So, Jason, how are you today?
Doing good. What about yourself?
Good. Let's get straight into things. I want to get to know a little bit first about last year, because I know this is your first year going into community college at Cerritos. Run me through the process of things that happened last year during your senior year of high school with obviously the pandemic. Like what happened to your season, what you do to keep in shape, things like that.
Last year we kind of got the first couple preseason games going into this year. And we got them out the way. Started off with a really hot, good record going into the season. And then probably the second game of the season, that's when everything started shutting down. And it was just everything shut down. And at the moment, during that first, probably 5 months of the pandemic, it was more, are we still playing? Are we still going to get going? But after those 5 months, we graduated, we realized, you know what, our time is up in high school and let's get ready for college. So, I mean, almost all of the schools gave their seniors anywhere from D1 to junior college. They gave them another year to that year back. So everybody got their year back, and that really affected us 2020 grads going into college. For the ones who weren't committed already. So like myself, I wasn't committed myself, and I was having looks from LMU, Long Beach State, what was the other one? Cal Baptist. And those schools were on the edge, and they were looking, and it looks promising, but with all the seniors coming back and getting that extra year, it was unfortunate for us as the 2021 grads, but it gave us a chance to really realize this sport is not easy. So
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So
Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, just in regards to keeping in shape, it was just you find wherever you can get into. Really, for me, it was in the beginning. It was this place called Veritas, and I was able to hit, lift, and run anything I can do really there. So I was blessed with that place. And then I found myself in contact with Cerritos, with their recruiting coordinator, and he said, "Bring it on. We have a great squad, great coaching staff, new coaching staff." So I was like, "Why not? Let's do it." So it was
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Run me through a little bit of that recruitment process, especially during COVID. I don't know if things were similar or not. Just run me through that recruitment process.
So for that, it was pretty much all video wise, because usually you get to see a player and see if you like them or not. But for me, it was strictly video. So recording myself getting at bats, fielding ground balls, getting pop flies on the outfield, and shooting them out to different schools for that piece. But really, one that reached out the most to me was Cerritos. And at first, I never really heard much about it because most of our guys went to East LA, and that's where I was thinking of going until I heard about Cerritos, and their coach was like, you know what, come out, just give it a try, why not? And I looked at their roster, I looked at their coaching staff, and once I saw a big name, Coco Crisp there as a new outfield coach, I was like, you know what, why not learn from World Series champ, you know? And so it was a lot of phone calls, really, just talking to coaches.
Oh, for sure. Tell me a little bit about Coco and the coaching staff. Like, what made you fall in love with Cerritos?
It was kind of it wasn't like immediate, okay, this is where I want to go. It was more of, when I talked to previous teammates from Santa Fe, they transferred to Cerritos, and two of them were already there. So I was, you know what, I know guys there. And they're telling me about this great coaching staff that they got, this new coaching staff. I think that they just got there for 2-3 years ago, this new coaching staff. So hearing about a new coaching staff in the last year, their season last year before they were cut off, they were doing really well too. So I was like, all right, I was like, you know what? We have a great team, got great group of guys, a great, amazing, phenomenal coaching staff. And I was like, why not? Let's do it. So that's what really got me to go to Cerritos.
Since actually going there, like, making the transition from high school to, JUCO ball. What have you guys actually done since the beginning of the year? Did you guys have any off-season training? Has it started barely now with the season arriving, or how's that gone so far?
So originally, it was all Zoom calls, a lot of Zoom calls, just talking and getting to know each other really through Zoom. And it was kind of unfortunate that we couldn't really meet up at all. But so a lot of it was like we did Zoom workouts where we just get on Zoom and do little ab workouts, a little body, only just body workouts. And then probably around December, there was a lot of talk about us coming back to the field in January. And I think a lot of guys were like, oh, crud, we're about to get back out there. Then some of us were just excited because we've been working out on our own for the past since we were shut down. So it was like January, we started getting talk about coming back on campus on Zooms. And then we got an option of either coming back on campus or staying home, just personal preference with COVID and everything. And a lot of us said we want to come back. And so we started probably about 3 weeks ago, just coming back in person. We just meeting each other in person. It was just straight conditioning for the past 2 weeks. And this week will be our first week of actually picking up a ball. So it's crazy how like we went from just 2 weeks running into now we're picking up a ball. And it's just, we finally get to show our coaches what we've been doing all off season, all of this pandemic of being able to work out.
Yeah. You mentioned that you just recently got to go to the field for the first time. Let me know about like your first impressions with the field, with the college's atmosphere, things like that. I know you can't really get that much of an atmosphere, but like, just the setting and the ball field itself.
First thought walking in, I wasn't, so the way it's set up, you can't really see the field until you get near the gate because it's kind of enclosed. And when at first I was like trying to see, I couldn't really tell. And so we finally got to the side, to the right field line, and you're able to walk through the gates onto the field. And I was just in awe because I was like, dang, like this is a yard, and it's huge. I think it's like 390, almost 410 dead center, and 330 down the line. So I'm like, for me, I've never played on a field bigger in dead center. I think largest field I played on was like 370, 360. So I never thought, 30, 40 feet would be that much, but really it adds a lot. So I loved the field off first glance. I was like, I can't wait, just come out here and compete with my brothers out here.
Yeah. For the viewers, just tell us a little bit about like your journey growing up playing baseball. What position do you play? Just about your journey growing up and falling in love with the game.
So I fell in love with the game at a really young age, kind of born into the game. My brothers all played baseball. We played little league here locally at Metropolitan Little League. My dad was a phenomenal baseball player growing up. Unfortunate for him, he was cut short of his dreams that when he got to USC and broke his ankles, he wasn't able to play. But for me, he introduced the game to us since we could pick up a ball. So growing up at Metro, just playing different positions, really, it wasn't like you got to play this position and learn this one. It was, hey, try out first base. All right, try out third base. Try out second and short. You know what? Let's see if you can pitch. And then and kids who don't want to be in the outfield, like you got to learn how to play the outfield. So
yeah,
my dad emphasized that you have to be athletic and you got to be able to play anywhere the coach asks you. So it was that's what kind of helped me and give me the edge really when I compete, is that I could play anywhere really. Probably not pitch and catch no more because I leave those to guys who really dominate those positions. But anywhere in the infield, anywhere in the outfield, you put me out there, I'll cover the ground.
What have you played the most? I remember, I watched you play at Santa Fe and you played outfield, but do you have like any set positions now at Cerritos?
Right now they set me in the outfield, but I know to help myself get that D1 scholarship, I got to be able to play anywhere. And me being a smaller guy, being about 5'9", I'm not really, you don't see that many 5'9" besides Mookie Betts in the outfield. So
sure.
Yeah, so I'm just I grew up playing shortstop and second base. As I grew older, my dad realized I'm a great shortstop, so I pretty much played there. And when I got to high school, they saw my speed. They're like, you're the fastest guy on the team. Go to center field. So that was really how it was. In high school, there wasn't too many big guys, so it didn't really matter for us. And now here at Cerritos, they saw me as an outfielder in high school, so that's kind of I transitioned to college as a outfielder. But hopefully, I'm hoping just on my own, I'm working, still getting my infield working because that's probably where I see myself playing.
Tell me how much just really you feel Santa Fe like prepared you, the things you learned, and how much that's transitioned now to Cerritos.
It was honestly everything that they told me I've had to use here at Cerritos so far. As in, like, for them, they taught us to be mentally tough, and kind of like a never back down attitude. And that's what you really need in JUCO ball is you're trying to beat the next guy to get a scholarship. And so for JUCO ball, this was a perfect place for me because I needed this push, I needed this edge that I can't just be complacent because in JUCO ball you can always be replaced. And I think it's a great place for me. So I think Santa Fe really develops me in regards to mental toughness and just working all around, really.
Awesome, dude. Let me know. Tell me a little bit about like your aspirations for the future. Like, is Major League Baseball getting to the pros your end goal? I'm assuming.
Of course, like every baseball player growing up, I mean, if I go pro, I fulfilled my dream, my biggest dream since I was little to play in a World Series. So, like my dream is to be on the 40-man roster. I don't even care what team it is, really. Just if I get my chance, I'm going to take it and I'm going to prove people wrong if anybody who doubts me. So I hope I can get there, just keep working, keep grinding, and keep my head down until I get there.
Um, what are you hoping to take the most out of really JUCO ball and eventually, hopefully for you, taking that next step and playing at a D1 school?
So for JUCO ball, I think my biggest takeaway is gonna be like how they call it a dog mentality, where in JUCO you got to be the best and you gotta show out every single day. It doesn't matter whether it's just a practice or a scrimmage. You got to show out because you never know when a scout's watching to get onto that next level for D1. So I think that will definitely be my biggest takeaway is that I'm a dog already. I'm just become a bigger dog. Come try to get that mindset that I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna get mine when I'm out there while playing along with my bros and making sure we play together.
Hey, Jason, I love that mentality and really that, be aggressive, that dog mentality, dude. I want to switch up into something a little bit different now, a little bit of a rapid fire type of questions to end the interview off. So let's get straight into it. What's your favorite memory playing baseball?
Going to Arizona when I was 13 when we got to represent Southern California for I think it was the 13U for Little League. So that was probably my favorite memory, just the whole trip.
Awesome. What about your favorite MLB team?
I got to represent hometown Dodgers, man, LA Dodgers. I believe.
Favorite memory, like Major League Baseball watching?
That's tough. That one is tough. That's tough. Honestly, growing up, we didn't really go to games just because
Yeah.
it was crazy. It's
And
unfortunate.
it doesn't really even need to be like at the stadium. Like it could be just like watching at your TV, maybe a specific playoff game or anything like that.
Probably when I forgot what year it was when Puig and Bumgarner got into it, and then like the next pitch or so, Puig just blasts one out there and just like, yeah, this is what happens.
For sure. What about your favorite actual Major League Baseball player? Is a guy you kind of look up to, like, this is the type of player I kind of want to become?
So probably either Mookie Betts or Lindor. More of Mookie Betts because he's that small guy, but he packs a punch. And Lindor is just because you never see him mad on the baseball field. That fool is Mr. Smiles all day. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. Have you ever gotten the chance to meet like any professional player?
So right now, actually, yeah, I work out at this place called The Cage in Los Alamitos, and they had some professional guys coming through there working out. One of them is a pitcher right now, and I think he's on the 40-man roster for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's a pitcher, Chase. What's his last name? His last name is Chase something, but total chill dude, and I never really expected a pro player to be so chill. And the dude was he's on the AAA squad for the Rockies. Alan Trejo, and he's smooth with the glove at third base, just money. I was like, wow. When we got to take GBs with him, I don't think I've ever seen someone as smooth as him in person.
Awesome, dude. What about your ideal pregame routine?
Pre-game routine, a lot of stretching, a lot of stretching. It's crazy. I'll stretch at home probably for like an hour, make sure I get my mind ready. Even I tried out meditation for a little bit because one of my old coaches told me just try it out before the game. Before you get to the ball field, just when you're at home, just visualize what you want to do in the game. And that I feel that one has skyrocketed my game.
Awesome. This one's going to be really interesting in my opinion. Would you rather hit a walk-off home run or would you rather throw a runner out at home to end the game?
Ooh, probably a walk-off home run so I can pimp the bat.
I love that. And another one pretty similar to that. Rob a home run or hit a grand slam?
Oh, probably rob a home run because people when you rob a home run, it's like you're snagging away hopes from somebody. So I think that's the best thing, especially if it's against a rival.
Oh, for sure. Hey, Jason, I appreciate you coming on, man. Just thank you for letting us to know a little bit about like your journey, what you went through during COVID and, just the transition into community college. I'm sure this will be really helpful for, any high school athlete looking to go to a JUCO community college or whether that's a D1 school, just getting a little bit getting to know a little bit about the process and things like that and just about your journey in general, man. Just really appreciate you for coming on.
Of course, no problem, man.
Awesome. With that said, Roadrunners, that's going to conclude this week's segment of the Sportsrunner Spotlight. Again, my name is Enrique Medina, joined by Jason Gibbons. Thank you, guys. A lot of great insight both on Jason's journey and how things were truly different for him during the pandemic. But with that said, Roadrunners, that officially puts an end to this week's episode of The Sports Runner. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified for future Sports Runner episodes. You can also check this episode out on our online website, elpaisanoonline.com. Don't forget to also follow us on Instagram at elpaimedia. On behalf of our team, I'm Enrique Medina. Thank you for watching this week's episode of The Sports Runner, and we'll see you next week. Peace.